Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to my podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly, telling you why I'm busy and maybe talk about all things Drizzy. So sit back and grab a plate into Kimbo's Slice of Life. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Kimbo's Slice of Life. We got the one and only Jerry here. What's up, Jerry?
Howdy.
Texas, y'all. Jerry's actually from Texas, right?
Yeah, I was born in Houston, but grew up in Austin most of my life, and came here to Dallas about 8 years ago. So, ye to the hall, you know.
I'm dead. Jerry is a model. What else? Model, content creator.
Yeah, model, content creator, and I guess event coordinator now. All of that.
What brought you to DFW?
College. I went down the basic, I guess, Asian kid route, and went to school for computer science. Hated it, but still graduated with my bachelor's and started working full-time in software development as a UX designer. And fast forward a couple of years, here I am.
Fast forward a couple of years and what?
Just still doing it, but now I guess I'm doing all the other creative shit. Because I had only just started modeling. I got pulled into it about a year ago exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did that happen for you?
So
it's only been a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen you pop up on Instagram. I was like, who is this guy? And
yeah, it's been really new for me because a friend of mine from college, I had always known he was doing creative stuff like photography, videography, content, whatever, and the friends he was hanging out with, they were all into all that stuff, but I never did anything creative, and so I was always intimidated by them. So I was like, oh, I can't hang out with y'all, I'm not doing shit like that. And so, but then last year, he at his studio, the Texas studio in Dallas, they were having a big photo meetup, and it was just open to anybody that wanted to come. So I just showed up and immediately just started meeting a bunch of photographers, videographers, other models, fashion people, just people that are cool, young, creative, and started shooting right away. And then modeling just clicked really easily for me. And then right after that, more and more people just started reaching out to me to shoot, and then brands started reaching out, and then eventually after just doing freelance for a couple months, I signed with the agency back in I think March or April. And
what's your agency?
Alice Laura.
How's that?
That's chill. It's all commercial work for the most part. I am looking at more mother agencies and stuff like that because I would love to travel around and do more work in more different places and stuff. But for the time being, I don't know, it's just cool. It's fun. Modeling isn't my main focus in the first place anyways.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, no, because
what would you say, apart from your day job?
So I think I really want to focus on all the events and stuff like that that I've been doing, because ultimately I want to do more for the creative community here and to really help just provide a third-party space for people who don't know each other, complete strangers, to come with a common interest, whether it's music, art, fashion, whatever, to come and meet other like-minded people so that they could feel like they're part of a bigger community. Because that was something I was really lacking for a long time. And I feel like it wasn't until literally the whole creative community with modeling where I felt okay, I finally feel like I fit in somewhere to a certain extent. So I want to give other people the exact same opportunity to be able to go to events, find friends, blah, 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 all that good shit.
So your modeling journey, it was easy for you, to get signed and stuff, and then now you kind of shifted gears?
Yeah, relatively. And which is interesting to me though, because I feel like I don't look like a model or a classic model in that way. And so...
Why do you say that?
I don't know. Maybe it's the body dysmorphia and the whole history of eating disorder shit and just all that fun stuff, to where I feel like I just don't look like a model. And so I never thought modeling would be something I could do. And even now, during the time period, the past year since I started modeling, I've continued to keep cutting weight and stuff. Like look a lot different even now how I did back then. And so it's probably just like a whole self-image issue thing. But
do you think it's like gained your confidence in a way though?
I think so, because it's nice having that validation that even though I don't see it in myself, at least some other people are like, you look like a model. But I feel like it's like small things, like for example, height. I'm 5'11", which is like the very bottom possible range you can be for a runway model, slash like even a lot of print modeling work, campaigns, whatever. And when I like walk in a runway show, even like all the other women in heels and stuff, they're like towering above me. I'm like, you know? And so, and because I've always had really tall friends as well. Like one of my best friends, he's like 6'2", 6'3". Another one of my best friends, he's a really big artist, Cole's Color. He's 6'7".
Oh
that is
gosh.
not okay. When I hang out with him, I literally feel like I'm a child. Like, I hate you so much. Like, if I could reach you. But like, yeah, one of my best friends. So it's just like height standards for me are like so thrown off, and so because of that, I feel like I'm like, you know, all of that.
So you're more like commercial model, I guess you could say. Like same thing with me because I'm only 5'6", and to be like, you know, like the high fashion runway, you got to be at least 5'8" and up.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, oh, I'm like 5'8" in heels. You know, so I was like, I can't do high fashion or runway. Like I've never, because I'm more commercial. So I guess it's, but like you said, like sometimes you don't feel like a model because you're like, dang, she's tall, and I'm just like down here.
Yeah.
You know. But I know you've only been doing it like, well, with Alice Laura for a few months, but have you had any memorable experiences like with the modeling and the runway?
Yeah.
Or any like favorite projects?
So I think one of the most memorable things for me was I walked in a really big runway show earlier this year, back in I think it was May. It was DIFA, and
I've heard of them.
it's one of the largest runway shows every single year in the whole United States. I think there's something like 124 models, and I didn't get into that through my agency. I actually got into it because my agency was sending us to like this free runway workshop type thing, and I don't know what it was going to be about, but I was just like, I mean, I'll take a free lesson from some coaches and stuff. And so I just show up, and I started just like chatting with all the instructors and stuff like that, networking, because I love talking. And the special instructor that was there, Rhonda, she started modeling like way back when, and she's 5'8", which is considered short for being a runway model. And just hearing her whole story about how she, like, even with the height and stuff like that, and even after a lot of rejections, she still managed to make it in the industry by just constantly persevering and like going to castings, and just trying to find whatever niche markets she could fit in, because there's a market for everybody.
Right.
Like, it's just about finding it, whether it's big or small too, but there's something out there. And just talking with her and just really being inspired by her, I was just chatting more with her and stuff, and she actually turned out to be the one that was like directing and coordinating DIFA, the big runway show, at the end of that week. I didn't know about it. I just like showed up just cause, right? And she texted me the next morning asking me if I would want to be in the show. I was like, oh yes, like of course. And so, because before that I'd only done one other runway show, because obviously still fairly new to the whole modeling industry, and so I just like jumped on the opportunity. And so I got the opportunity, not because of the agency or anything like that, but just because I put myself out there.
Yeah.
And I really feel like when it comes to a lot in the creative industry as a whole, a lot of the opportunities and stuff you get, they're from connections, they're from networking, they're from just meeting people and putting yourself out there and being genuine. Because it could be like super scary and intimidating when like you meet other models and stuff and they have like tens of thousands of followers and they have like so much experience and they're like tall and beautiful or whatever, and you're just like, I feel so small and crusty, right? But so anyways, long-winded answer for all of that, but definitely like that runway show and getting into that whole experience was really memorable for me. So yeah.
Oh, so what did it feel like? Because you say it was only your second time on the runway. Did you know how to like walk, or did you do any like research prior? I know she texted you like the next morning.
Yeah, so I, even before that, for the first runway show I did, I spent a lot of time learning just from like YouTube and like learning from other models and like just trying to figure out like how to walk, because there's so many different styles that you could walk. Everybody's body is so different, and so I had that knowledge from then on what to do. But then even for DIFA, I was like, okay, gotta keep, I guess, doing my homework and trying to learn. And so for a while I was like watching a lot of runway shows and stuff, for example, and just watching all the different types of models walk, and then just following random like accounts or like random people who would be like, okay, this is like what a good walk is for this reason, this is a bad walk for this reason. And I feel like also with a lot of it, it's very subjective too, between what's a good and bad walk. Because for example, one of my favorite runway models, Leon Dame, he's extremely creative with his walks, and he plays a character for all of his shows, and he's especially notorious for his runway shows that he does with Margiela, where he'll just have like the craziest, most interesting like walk where it's like, it literally does not look like a regular runway walk, but it's like super theatrical, and it creates a really good show and a good environment, and it still highlights the clothing really well, and it's this whole spectacle. And at the end of the day, a runway show is a show, it's entertainment.
Right.
And the more people are entertained, the more you have their attention, the more they're going to be like, yo, I kind of want to buy that piece of clothing, or oh, hey, that was really memorable, hey, did you see what happened at that show? So keeping all of that in mind for me, it really helped like ease my nerves with the whole like, I gotta have a perfect walk and shit. No, you really don't. As long as like it looks good or whatever, you're comfortable and confident, all that, it really translates well, because the audience can tell when you're nervous. The audience knows when you're awkward and stiff and when your walk is off. And I feel like especially now at this point, after like being a couple runway shows and then like having a good bit more experience in the industry, and then just like meeting more people, just consuming more content, whenever I go to a runway show and I see other models, like, because there are a lot of runway shows here in Dallas in particular, where for one, they don't pay the models, and so because of that, it deters a lot of professional models that have experience from wanting to go to those shows. And it's great because it opens way for inexperienced models to get their foot in the door. However, it really dampens the shows to a certain extent, because you could just tell how inexperienced a lot of the models are. And how a lot of models, they may look good, but they just don't have the skills for runway, or maybe not enough practice, or blah 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 blah. So it completely makes the show just feel off. And I guess I'm just a very big like treat the whole like event as an experience type guy, and so I like to nitpick with stuff like that.
Is that how like you got into like curating events?
Yes.
So you like to be particular about certain things, and then you just come up with the concept idea, or how does that work?
Well, for example, the very first event that I did, it was a art event focused on the artwork of one of my friends, Justice, and that was completely on a whim, because I was over at his place because he was using me as a model for one of his spray painting pieces that he was making. And as we're just like, he was painting and we're just talking, chatting and stuff like that, we brought up my friend Cole again, who's traveled around for a lot of different shows and stuff that he's done with his artwork. and Justice was like, yeah, I really want to do like my own art show and stuff. That would be really fun. And I was like thinking about it on the drive back home. I was like, I could do that. I have connections in the industry. I could coordinate something. I know what a good and bad event is like. And so I immediately called another one of my friends, Hannah Dimmitt, who owns Funky Fun Studios, and was like, hey, I have an idea for something. Would you be down for this? Talked to her, and then I called Justice and was like, hey, I have this idea. And that's how the idea like sprang into action. And so even though the event wasn't perfect, it was still a good first step for me to figure out like all the logistics behind hosting an event and just like showing myself, hey, I have particular tastes with how I want to do stuff, but I know these events can be successful, because it was successful, like made profit and stuff like that. And just everyone that came, like for the most part, had a good time, and it was just, I don't know, a good experience.
So how many how many, because you just said, how many events have you done like since you first started?
It's only 3.
Only 3? I feel like I've seen like you do more than that, or have done more than that.
I feel like it's because I'm constantly going to other events.
Oh, okay.
And like because one of the biggest things for me that I love about the whole industry is the events, just meeting people. You run into a lot of the same circles, and it's nice to catch up with them and chat and talk, but then also it's through those people that you make mutual friends, you make other mutual connections with the complete strangers. And as I mentioned earlier, what I love about these creative events is that they're all, for the most part, creative. So they're into fashion, art, music, photography, videography, whatever. And you have at least some common ground with them, and that makes it easy for me to just connect with them. And so I've also noticed that the more I put myself out there with events and the more I network and spread myself out there, the more I'll just like get approached by random strangers I've never met before who are like, hey, I've been following you for a while. I really like what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, who, me? Nobody, though. But it's been nice getting that recognition and putting myself out there in that regard. And I just really appreciate how open, for the most part, the community can be. Because, of course, there are people that are very like, oh, you only have this many followers. I'm good. Okay.
Social media for you.
Yeah. Or like people that like if they feel like they can't get anything out of you, they don't want anything to do with you. But that's kind of how it is with every industry, I feel. And I feel like for every fake person like that, there's at least a couple more really genuine creators that really love doing stuff for the arts and for passion and all of that. So
yeah, I'm all about like supporting people. Like, you support me, I support you type, like I feel like this is all, dang, my phone keeps going off over there. I feel like this is all, like, we're all in this together, and we all can just grow with one another, that's how I feel. Like, I don't know, but sometimes, people think models are like entitled or whatever, but I'm just like no, I just want the support, you support me, I support you.
Yeah, and I feel like the more we support each other and like develop everybody as a whole, the more opportunities come for everybody.
Right.
And the more it just like helps build up the whole industry as a whole. And especially supporting good, genuine people too, because I feel like there are a lot of people in the industry, especially here in Dallas, that are just kind of in it for the money. And it's very obvious by the events they host, or the runway shows that they'll do, or the little vendor markets that they put on who actually cares about the young creatives versus who just cares about getting a big check. And like, I've gone to networking events where the vast majority of the people out that I'll meet, they have nothing to do with the creative industry. They have no idea what anything is. They're just business people. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing here? They're literally just investing money. That's all they're doing. They're like, here, take the money. That's it. And it always leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth when I go to events like that, because like, you just know, like, they're in it for the wrong reasons. It's just very predatory feeling and all of that. And so really want to support the genuinely interesting creatives that really care about it and care about each other too.
I know. I was telling you earlier, but I need to like network more, because like that's one thing I'm not so good at, is like getting out there, you know, because I don't know. I'm just like all the way over here in Fort Worth and everything. I just feel like everything's in Dallas, you know. And then how do you like manage a day job with like everything else? Like, because I saw that you had a day job, I do.
Yeah, I'm really lucky in that my job is flexible in a lot of ways, where I have meetings kind of randomly throughout the day. But as long as I get my work done, I can kind of just do whatever throughout the day. So I've had plenty of times where I'll have a meeting and I'm taking the meeting while I'm on set for a photo shoot, or while I'm traveling in like a different country, or while I'm just like out on a run or something. So it's nice. It's only doable just because my job is so flexible, and I know I'm good at what I do, and I am able to finish my responsibilities as it comes.
Oh, okay. So you have that luxury, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, no, I'm super lucky.
Yeah.
And like, because I've had the same job for the past like 4 years now. I got it just straight out of college. It's just been like, having that stability definitely makes everything else a lot easier for me, because like, since I know like I have my like whole day job and stuff like that, I don't have to treat all the creative stuff. I don't have to treat the events. I don't have to treat modeling. I don't have to treat content creation as the major source of income. And so that allows me to focus on more on just like the love of doing it, as opposed to being like, I need to make money from this. Money, right?
You do it from the heart.
Yeah.
Right.
Which helps me hopefully keep my events like more genuine and make connections better. And so, yeah, like, and also like a big thing that I care about is, for example, the first rave that I did, because it was the first rave I was doing, I had no idea how like the budgets and everything were going to work, and like how much to charge people for tickets and blah, 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 blah. And so I couldn't really pay a lot of the people like anything at all, other than the venue. But then for the second event, everybody got paid for that one, because figure out how to like budget everything, figure out like how to do more stuff, so I can actually like help support the smaller artists, the smaller DJs, smaller like whoever, for coming to help out. And then hopefully like want to expand it from there to be able to like make it a thing where people can have like actual like big gigs, where it's like good income for them.
Right.
So
that's awesome. What advice would you give to like somebody who wants to, who inspires, you know, to be a model or like a content creator, who wants to get out there but doesn't know how?
I would say just do it, like, because I mentioned it earlier how for a very long time I had the whole mental block about like, oh, I'm not creative enough, or oh, I'm not like hot enough or tall enough to be a model, or oh, like, who would want to come to one of my events, right? And just getting over those insecurities and just like putting myself out there was definitely the biggest thing. And so I would say with modeling in particular, just take some basic headshots. I guess 4 main headshots you'll need is literally just like set up your phone camera, good lighting, whatever, and face, and then upper torso, and then full body, and then side profile. Just those photos, all you need, and then just start submitting your applications to different modeling agencies. The industry is still very predatory, so there are a lot of fake agencies out there, or like agencies that just want the money, or blah, 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 blah. And that's something you'll kind of learn from word of mouth over time, or just from being in the industry a little bit more. And or if something just seems fishy, it's because it is fishy, you know. And also, don't be afraid to reach out to people on Instagram, even for you.
That's my problem.
Just reach out to people.
I'm
like,
so scared of like people like not responding, because I've had a couple people like not respond to me, you know, if I reach out to them like, oh, you want to be on the podcast? And it's like, I am so scared. That's what I'm scared of, like, of reaching out, because I guess the denial or the rejection or them leaving me on red, I'm just like, Okay.
I mean, I feel like as a straight dude, I've gotten so used to rejection, right? And so really the worst thing people can do is just say no or like just ghost you. And that's okay because I feel like it's not something you should take personally in any sort of way. Even like with meeting random strangers in person, if they're not interested in talking to you, that's okay.
But that's my problem. Like, I take everything personal. I'm like sensitive. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and like, I was like, either you're being mean or I'm sensitive. But my friend was like, no, you're sensitive.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those industries where you have to have a thicker skin because rejection is literally just a big part of it. But you're never gonna get those opportunities and stuff like that if you don't sift through all the rejections and like keep pushing through. And because I feel like I'm a very sensitive person too, and even for the reel that I posted recently that's blown up, it's like almost at 1 million views, and it gives me so much anxiety looking at the notifications and seeing all the comments. And there's like a few like pretty negative comments here or there, and I'm just like, ugh. But then I'm also like, I don't care. They're like random strangers. People can suck. Like, everyone has their own opinion about something.
You're like, so this is what a celebrity feels like,
Yeah.
right? Because people always got something to say, especially if you're, Drake or something.
Yeah.
But
and you just, I don't know. You just learn to deal with that, and so. And I really feel like going back to your question, definitely just networking. If you can't meet people in person, at least reach out on Instagram or follow people that are doing kind of the things you want to be doing, and like just observe, watch, learn, hopefully connect with them. Go to meetups, and just the more people you meet, the more opportunities will come just with anything in general. So I think that would be my biggest piece of advice. But that's also easy for me to say because I feel like I am a lot more extroverted naturally. Although I do get very burnt out at times, I still, at the end of the day, just love people in general and meeting people. So
yeah, you just have that in you. What is your favorite pizza?
My favorite pizza, okay, so probably fig and prosciutto. Like, just, oh my god, like
What
fig
is-
and prosciutto
wait.
with like goat cheese.
I don't know what that is.
You don't, which one?
Am I supposed to know what that is?
Like what, fig or prosciutto?
Both.
Okay, so figs are like this like really small sweet fruit.
Fig.
Yeah, they're
I
like,
have heard of that.
they're so good. So,
No,
so
I have heard of that. Like fig Newtons is the same kind
Yeah.
of fig? Okay.
Yeah, except like I think fig Newtons are a lot more like just straight up sugar. in
Yeah.
it than actual like fig, but it's that's what it is. Like the fruit itself, and then, you know what prosciutto is, right? Prosciutto.
No.
It's like an Italian ham essentially that's aged and carved up. So it's a little bit on the stinkier side.
You're bougie.
It's not that bougie. Okay, maybe I'm a little bit bougie, but like, it's like at every Italian place.
Oh, okay.
And so,
Well, I'm plain, and I like pepperoni.
mm,
That's so basic.
pepperoni's good. Like, do you like pepperoncinis?
No,
Okay, have you had it?
probably not.
Okay, they're like it's like pepperoni except smaller, and when they're cooked, they like cup themselves up, so they rise, and so all the oil like kind of holds in it like a saucer. It's like a bit spicier than regular pepperoni, so I feel like it's a good little gateway
Okay, interesting.
to pizza.
Okay, well, thanks, Jerry, for coming on and giving us what you got going on, sharing the networking. Guys, don't forget to network. Don't be like me. I need to work on that.
No,
Jerry's gonna help me network. Okay, Jerry.
I guess.
I guess. All right, guys. You can find Kimball Slice of Life on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We will see you guys in 2.